Okay, so in this session, let's talk about your values and your life verse. Let me start with values. Values are those principles, or they're those guidelines that you are going to live by in your life. I'm really a big fan of trying to define these. I would also encourage you not to have dozens of them. I would try to pick out 3 or 4 or 5 values that you are absolutely going to live by, because I want you to memorize those, and they will become the fundamental thing that guides you through life and keeps you on the straight and narrow, as it were. My 4 values are this: I want to honor God, I want to serve people, I want to pursue excellence, and I want to steward my life. I use those 4 values anytime that I'm getting ready to make a major decision in life. I go back to those 4 values. 15 years ago, my wife and I were getting ready to buy a new house. I had a real desire to get to the country. I'm a farm kid. I always wanted to get back to the country. So as we began to process, should we buy a new house or should we stay where we are, I simply took my 4 values and I asked the 4 key questions. Would buying a new house in the country honor God? The second thing, if we bought a new house in the country, would it really serve people, or was it simply for our own pride and our own pleasure? The third question we asked, would it help us pursue excellence in our life, or would it take that away from us? And the last thing was, are we good stewards of our resources if we spent the money to buy more land and a different house in the country? As we worked through those, we decided there was a yes to all 4 of those questions, so we bought a house in the country. You may be saying, should I buy these simple approaches to using your values to guide you and to really act as a filter to help you make right decisions is really, really important. So whether it's buying a new house, should you move jobs, what should you do in life? Look at your values as a filter system to help you make those decisions. If you do that, it will really treat you well over time. The last thing I want to talk about is your life verse. This is not a really critical thing, but I think it is really, really important. At the age of 25, I went to a conference over the weekend, and the gentleman shared a number of verses, and one of those just absolutely was burned into my soul, and that particular verse has become my life verse. I memorized it. I refer to it on a very a lot. Oftentimes I will talk to people and I will share my life verse because it is the guiding thing that directs me in the direction I should go. My life verse happens to be Psalm 78:72, and it's talking about David. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them with the skillfulness of his hands. It just so happens that out of that life verse came my 4 values. You see, embedded in that verse are my 4 values. So he fed them, that has to do with serving people, with integrity of heart, that has to do with honoring God, and he guided them, that has to do with being a good steward, with skillfulness of hands. That happens to be the pursuit of excellence. So my 4 values happen to tie in to my life verse, and so it makes it very convenient and very powerful for me. That you don't have to do that same thing, but I would really encourage you, define your values, 3, 4, 5, memorize them. Also find a life verse that will guide you as you go through life. Have a great time working through that, and we'll see you next week.